Good morning. Happy 4th of July weekend. I hope your weekend has been spectacular. And that church is just kind of the frosting on the cake for you this weekend. You know, it's come to my attention that we've been hearing a great deal lately about isms: racism, communism, socialism, and ageism, which is stereotyping or discriminating against individuals or groups because of their age. And I'd like to add that it's more than just a word in the dictionary. This has become a big enough problem for the World Health Organization to begin 4 studies intended to define ageism and identify ways to combat it. So I've been thinking about ageism this week, and I've come to the conclusion there are a lot of ways that it can show up. It may be work-related, it might be community-related, it might be family-related, or it might be self-inflicted. That is, unlike most of the other isms, ageism might as likely come from the outside in or the inside out. And while I don't condone ageism in any form, period, what I really want to talk to you about today is a very specific type of ageism. Auto-ageism, I call it. The ageism that we foist upon ourselves. The ageism that comes from the inside out. I can remember a time when, if you wanted to make a case for not judging by age, everyone brought up Anna Mary Robertson Moses, known by her nickname, Grandma, the American folk artist. Grandma Moses began painting in earnest at the age of 78 and is often cited as an example of an individual who successfully began a career in the arts at an advanced age. Her paintings have been immensely popular now for decades and are really appreciated for their nostalgic charm and sweetness and connection to a simpler time. She exhibited her work internationally into her 90s and painted until just a few months before her death at the age of 101. Good going, Grandma. All of which leads me to ask you a question. What are you too old or too young to be doing? What are you stopping yourself from stepping out into the world and doing because of age? Hang on, I've got another story. This is the one that really got me going about a week or so ago. A very special woman, about 2 weeks ago, died. Her name was Vera Lynn. Some of you already know who I'm talking about, but for those who don't, Vera was born in 1917. She was born toward the end of the First World War in a place in outer London. She was not from a wealthy family. Her father was a plumber. She started singing before live audiences at the age of 7 and was already embarked on a show business career by the late 1930s. when she was just 20-something. She thought when World War II came about that it was going to put an end to her career. But instead, it transformed her into an icon. And not just because of one miraculous song that she sang, but because of what she did. Vera sang through the Blitz. She sang to Londoners sheltering from the bombs in tube stations. And she sang for the troops, sometimes even by the bedsides of the wounded. She sang on the home front, and after some stops along the way, sang to the boys of the Forgotten Army in Burma. Not infrequently with the Japanese rather much too close for comfort. Decades later, she was awarded the Burma Star. A corporal who heard her sing once wrote, "We went mad. Never have I yelled, bellowed, hollered, or clapped so much before. We gave her an ovation, all right. She couldn't sing for 10 minutes, and she cried, too. Broken hand or not," he said, "I made it clap. I saw blokes crying with joy at seeing our very own Vera." Sometime after the war, she was honored with the title of Dame Vera Margaret Lynn, and she was widely known as the force's sweetheart. And Vera didn't quit then, although many might have. She remained popular after the war, appearing on radio and television in the United Kingdom and in the United States, and recording hits such as Auf Wiedersehen, Sweetheart. Her last single, I Love This Land, was released to mark the end of the Falklands War in 2009. Vera never quite quit. And at the age of 92, she became the oldest living artist to top the UK albums chart with a compilation album of her songs called We'll Meet Again, the very best of Vera Lynn. Not yet finished. In 2014, she released the collection Vera Lynn National Treasure. And in 2017, she released Vera Lynn 100, a compilation of hits to commemorate her centenary. It was a number 3 hit, making her the first centenarian ever to have a top 10 album in the charts. The songs that are most notably her own are We'll Meet Again, There'll Be Bluebirds Over the White Cliffs of Dover, and A Nightingale Sang in Berkeley Square. If you still haven't made the connection or are perhaps a little young to make the connection, We'll Meet Again played over the bombs and credits at the end of Dr. Strangelove. In addition to her singing, Vera devoted much time and energy to charity work. She connected with ex-servicemen, with disabled children, and with survivors of breast cancer. And in 2000, Dame Vera Lynn was named the Briton who best exemplified the spirit of the 20th century. What an amazing life. What an amazing honor to be singled out among all of the possibilities, to be the Briton who best exemplified the spirit of an entire century. So, given Vera's story, here's my question for you. What are you not doing because you thought it was too late for you? saying you should lie about your age. I'm saying don't lie about your possibilities. Satchel Paige once said, "How old would you be if you didn't know how old you are?" I don't know how old I am most of the time. I honestly don't. I have to figure it out on my fingers. But what about you? What are the stories you're telling? Remember the show The Golden Girls? The Golden Girls were golden, not because of how old they were, but because they made us laugh brilliantly, because they inspired us to take the leap and do outrageous things at any age. So what if it's going to take a year or 5 years or 10 years to learn or to be qualified to do what you've always thought you'd like to do? How old will you be in a year or 5 years or 10 years if you don't do it? I'm inspired by people who step out of their comfort zone and do things the world thinks they're too old to do. That takes nerve. I am even more inspired by people who step out of their comfort zone and do things they think they are too old to do, because that takes courage and faith in themselves. I've really come to believe that age is what we make it to be. Ernest Holmes once wrote, "There can never come a time when we shall stop progressing. Age is an illusion. Limitation is a mistake. Unhappiness is ignorance." We are not what we may appear to be, my friends. We are, first and foremost, expressions of spirit. And spirit is ageless. We've got to start talking to ourselves differently, to remind ourselves that we are more than the statistics on our driver's licenses or our birth certificates. We've got to form a new mental atmosphere around ourselves and talk to ourselves as though we were talking to and want to support the person that is involved, that being ourselves. To support ourselves into living life to the fullest. Instead of, "I'm too old to," how about, "I'm finally old enough to"? Instead of, "Look at this gray hair," how about, "Look at these highlights. I've earned every one of them." Instead of, "Look at these wrinkles. Look at these signs of the life that I have lived." Instead of, "I'm getting old," how about, "I'm getting on with life"? So what if you're not as young as you once were? Who is? Do you really want to go through all that again? Why not start where you are and build an even better life? What say you? Short of commissioning your own personal version of the picture of Dorian Gray, what words could best lift the ageism out of your vocabulary and put life back into your step? Vera Lynn inspired me on the bestseller charts over the age of 100. You inspire me. But what inspires you? What if the golden years are not a myth, but a prophecy? What if being golden is about being so filled with the light of spirit at any age that we absolutely glow from the inside out? I have a meditation I'd like to share with you. It's about an amazing golden mist, and it seems wonderfully appropriate for today. Will you join me? Close your eyes if you'd like, or just soft focus a little so that your attention goes within. I borrowed some of this meditation from Andrew Harvey, and I invite you to personalize it by using your favorite name for God in the meditation. If it's God, fine. If it's universe, if it's love, whatever you prefer to call God, use that name and make this personal for you. So close your eyes or soft focus. Take a deep breath and repeating your name for God silently. Breathe in a deep, dazzling golden mist. A mist as beautiful and bright and powerful as the sun. Again, thinking of your name for God, breathe in the splendid golden mist. And with each inhalation, allow it to fill your body and become you. Breathe in the golden mist. And then when you exhale, breathe out fear, confusion, limitation, everything and anything that stands in the way of your recognition of yourself as a golden divine being. Breathe in the golden mist and be filled with it. And then breathe out with the same power that you breathed in, letting loose any thoughts of limitation. Again. And again. Breathe in the golden mist. Breathe out the fear. And again. Breathe in the mist and breathing out powerfully until there is simply none of what you feared remaining in you, till you are free. You see, there is an alchemy taking place. You are changing, you are turning dross into gold. Again, thinking your name for God. Breathe in the dazzling golden mist. And breathe out any remaining doubt or fear. And know that in doing so, you are transformed. These times that we live in, these sometimes painful and confusing times, invite alchemical transformation, turning the dross of our fear into the gold of our vision. In these times, we can connect with the infinite, unlimited power, and when we do that, we will discover that it has been there within us, waiting all along. May we be transformed by the discovery or the remembering of our divinity, as well as the renewing of our minds. And so it is. You know, several decades ago, another female singer, Joni Mitchell, wrote, "We are stardust, we are golden, and we have to get ourselves back to the garden." The very last verse of the song, the words change just slightly. And she writes, "We are stardust, we are golden, and we are caught in the devil's bargain. And we got to get ourselves back to the garden." The bargain with the devil created the illusion that in Eden we were blessed, and in the world we were cursed, with, among other things, the awareness of aging. Let us opt out of the bargain that we have made with the devils who believe that age should be anything other than a recording of wisdom and a celebration of the passage of time. Let us make a new contract with Spirit, a contract that allows us to shine its light as long as we choose, and in whatever manner we choose, and to be brilliant. Today, let us decide to be what we were born to be. Let us transform from dust into stardust. Let us be golden, and let us get back to the business of rebuilding the garden. Have a wonderful week. Share your light. Shine your brilliance. Be golden.